Huzzah! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's the BBC Spews live a day early because I'm buggering off to LA. I'd keep telling you, you want to be happy in life, you got to keep your mother-in-law happy, haven't you? That's what's going on this weekend. How's everyone doing? It's the 10th of October 2025. The best month of the year because this is when Bootneck was born. So there you go. Only a couple of days after Captain Cook. And 2 days after the Royal Marines were. So, strange coincidence. Clearly the best month of the year. Let me put some news on. What was I looking at there? Oh, yeah. There's a good one. Ceasefire comes into force. Pinko socialists don't give the award to Trumpy Bear. We knew they wouldn't, didn't we? We knew they wouldn't. They're all radical activists, all them silly Norwegian twats. Who's in the chat anyway? Crikey, 150 already. How you doing? Grasshopper's in now then. Looking forward to creative rants. I don't know if you'd call them creative. I'll do my best. Trevor Harris is in as well now then. Kate, thanks for moderating. Cheers. Richie Erickson's in now then. Who else? Council Estate Rates just popped up after dinner. Nice. It did. And 1969, all right, how are you doing, Neil Young, now then? Anyone else who's important? I apologise if I missed you. Happy Friday, the weekend is here, yeah. Good, that, innit? Right, so I'm not here tomorrow. Apologies, I've got stuff to do. Hang on, I've got the wrong banner up here, haven't I? Where's that? The BBC Spews. Here it is. There we go. Actually, I think I prefer the other one because that's not covering my head. And it's got the can bank on it. Get in. And obviously Bootneck likes Ace Lager. That's what that's for. So, we knew this was coming, didn't we? Oh, are you having a laugh? I keep telling you this, right? The BBC, I was assured that it was, according to their website, that the only stuff they were sticking behind a paywall was not the breaking news, but apparently the lying bastards want $49.99 a year to watch it if you're American. So they can suck my stump because, frankly, I'd rather give money to, I don't know, the Gary Glitter Christmas gift list. So, yeah, that's not happening, is it? I guess we'll have to go and have a look at X instead. That's ridiculous, that. Breaking news. I'll not even look at that. Who's going to pay for the BBC at this point? Who's going to pay for the BBC? Honestly, I feel less guilty if I was just directly giving the money to Al-Qaeda, sending them in an envelope. To Al-Qaeda, lots of love, Bootneck. Just drop it in a post, send it off to Ganners and just hope they get it. Yeah, the BBC are lying bastards. So it said on the homepage, said if it's breaking news, you don't have to pay for it. You don't even start me on USAID. I mean, we've sort of kicked the arse out of USAID, haven't we? We know that they're just radical activists again, basically paying to help not elect people that are normal or conservative or Republican. Like, they're literally paying for giving them money, giving money to activist groups. Never paid for the money after my last mistake. I'm sure you didn't, Davey the Codhead. It's ridiculous. This new camera's a bit shit and all in it. It's supposed to be, in fact, it's a little bit annoyingly far down there. Let's put it down a little bit more. Here we are. Is that a bit better? Yeah, it's proper annoying. It was expensive, that, and all. It was like $150 camera, and it's meant to be like 1080p, and it's got this like auto panning feature, but it's super irritating because I don't need it to auto pan because I'm not going anywhere. But it seems to be knocking me lips out of sync when I'm doing recording. I'm sure it's some boomer thing I've got wrong, like it's recording at 30 and I'm editing at 24 or something. Hopefully I'll figure that out. But yeah, it's it looks like an airbrush camera. Yeah, it does. It's got like some added features in there that make you look slightly more attractive. I guess it's kind of like the equivalent of like wankers on the news putting makeup on, except you don't have to actually do any of that. So, you know, clever in it, that. It saves a spot, because obviously I'm not going to put makeup on. But if it's good enough for Piers Morgan, surely the Bootneck can have a blast, can't they? There is a lip sync issue. Even now, it looks like it's working now. But I don't know, because I guess what I'm looking at is probably a slight delay over what's going out. Yeah, that's digital technology. I pressed the give me more hair button and the robot went beep, boop, bap, and then suddenly I looked like David Hasselhoff, and I was like, oh, I have to dial it back a bit. Pressed it a few notches to the left, and then, I went to Frodo Baggins, and then it sort of went downhill from there until I looked like Crichton. If you go too far the other way, you look like Crichton. So yeah, that's that. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the news. What else have I retweeted today? Let's have a look. There's loads of good ones on here. Trumpy's been class, hasn't he? Cleese is having a pop at him. They're always having a pop at Reform and Farage, saying they're just like Trump. Have you seen how good it's going in America? It's amazing. Trumpy Bear's been a revelation. Twatting the speedboats. This is why I get angry about it. It's so easy to fix all these problems that assail you. England could be amazing. It could be amazing in a week. But they don't do it. It's crazy to me. Like, it just goes to show that these globalist sociopaths that rule the world with an iron fist, they're obviously doing this on purpose, aren't they? Because it's not difficult. Stopping the boats could happen in an hour. It's a piece of piss. You literally just get the military, of which we've got a large one, and stick them on the border, and it's done. It's fixed. Hey, I've got a new member of Fallopian Tube Socks here. Get in. Now you're important, so well done you. You are worthy of my notice from now on, Fallopian Tube Socks, so cheers. Yeah, it's a mad state of affairs. He's been amazing. The drug runners, you know what I mean? I've talked about this loads, right? I just don't understand why the masses tolerate it. Like, they've decided all these rules, and we all hate the rules, but we can't get rid of the rules. And it is like, are we in a democracy or not? I mean, obviously I know we aren't, and you know we aren't, but the masses and the mainstream media keep repeating the lie. Honestly, what do you think the polls would say? Can you do polls on StreamYard? I'd love to do a poll. Is there any way of doing that? Anyone know? Can you create? It says create banner, media shite. There's sounds on here. Oh, the sounds, look, you can do bongos. Could you hear that? Or is it just blasted me in the ears? Apparently you can do bongos. I didn't know that. Punch. There you go. That's a bit shit, that one. But I love them bongos. On bongo, they drink it in the Congo. Brilliant. Love that. No, I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to do a poll. Honestly, I think if you went out onto the street and you stood outside a pub on Linthorpe Road in Middlesbrough and you just asked everybody who came out the pub, do you think we should use the justice brick on Ian Huntley, for example? If you don't know who that is, Sadwings and all the rest of the Americans, he was a child killer, killed a couple of kids, weirdo, pervert weirdo. If you were to ask the general public, in fact, I'll just make it a bit more broad, right? Don't need to concentrate on the names for everybody else. Just, should we just use the justice brick on child killers? People who kill children. I mean, I don't feel like I'm being controversial there. I'm not saying, oh, do a bit of shoplifting, do you in with a house brick. But child killers. If you were to ask anyone, if you were to stop 1,000 men, especially men, because women, God bless you, women, I love you, I do, but too many emotions. My wife laughs because I was like, really, you shouldn't be voting, should you? And she's like, piss off. But like, honestly, if blokes had been the only ones voting, the last 20 years wouldn't have gone down the way they did. Because it's birds who are always the daft lefties. I honestly think if you stopped 1,000 men outside the local boozer and said, do you think old Ian and all of his ilk should be getting strapped to the electric lazy boy? Yeah, what do you think? Like, give me some numbers in the chat. I reckon 950 out of 1,000. I reckon the amount of people who've been brainwashed to be shit for brains walkie-talkies is way smaller than people think. It's like, especially in the borough, like, who reads The Guardian in the northeast? It'd be like 950. I'd just be like, yeah, get rid of them. So why hasn't it happened? Why? Why hasn't it happened? All this stuff can be done easily, piece of piss, in a week. If the Prime Minister wanted to do it, he'd do it. The British Parliament is sovereign. The idea that these rules where they go, oh yeah, we can't deport the stuff that we've kept in, the slime, the human detritus of society that we've kept in the UK because of the European Court of Human Rights. Why doesn't the British government and the British people just go, we don't care about the European Court of Human Rights? Who cares about it? They won't do it. And it baffles me because nobody is interested in this pinko lefty socialist namby-pamby do-gooder. Oh, he killed someone, but he had a bad childhood. Oh, he killed someone though. So who gives a flying shite about his childhood? It's crazy. I don't understand it. And we could just do it. All the stuff Trump does, it'd be easy. There's another one, look. There's another one. It winds me up. The amount of dead people, the desolation and the misery and the death because of do-gooders. And when we could just do it. Just ignore. Just deport. Trump's doing it as well. I don't know if you guys are keeping tabs on this across the pond. And I don't cover it often because I only 9 out of 10 videos are UK politics these days. It's just weird. Like, I guess you have to talk with an American accent to get a big channel in the States because I think 90% of my audience is from the UK. Fair enough. Most of them think I talk like a cross between an Irish alcoholic and a Scottish Down syndrome. So it's not their fault. And unless I do what Chris Williamson does and go to elocution lessons so I can speak properly, I guess I'll never get a big audience in the States. But that's why I don't predominantly do US politics. Anyway, Trumpy Bear is just been smashing it. And the system is working against him. And the activist lawyers are working against him. And the human rights twats. And the civil service. The ambulance chasers. All the Democrats. All of them. All they're doing is moaning about Trump. Moaning about him constantly. But he doesn't care. Doesn't care. And the best thing is, when you do what Trumpy Bear does, which is put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 and just do it anyway, instead of doing what these I mean, that's why I despise the British Conservatives so much, because they do as they're told. You pathetic little creatures. Boris Johnson, again, I voted for Boris Johnson. That turned from love to hate faster than, I don't know. Who's a good male sex symbol? I almost said Ricky Martin then, but he's a raven. He's a raver, isn't he? I didn't know that until recently. I thought he was like I assume because he's like attractive and Latin, he'd be like some sort of like mad lady slayer. And my wife laughed and said, "You haven't got a gaydar, have you?" I was like, no, I'm terrible for that. And she was like, no, he's raving. And I was like, never knew that. But I was going to say Ricky Martin's missus. Richard Gere, there you go. Divorced faster than Richard Gere, and if his missus found him in a harem. But Burt Reynolds, there's a good one. I love to see that my entire audience is the same age as me at this point. Like I told you, I was joking about this for ages. For about 4 years, making YouTube videos, the go-to sex symbol was always Angelina Jolie. And it was only when I was at work and I said this, I was like, oh yeah, Angelina Jolie. And one of the lads was like, why are you lusting after her? She's like 50 years old. I was like, oh yeah, kind of weird to be chasing after 50-year-olds if you're, 20. So Sydney Sweeney's the new one. I've memorised that. So there's a young sex symbol. But before Sydney Sweeney, I couldn't have named one. I didn't even know you would have picked. Thanks for the super chat, God's best friend. Not hearing your voice is the Yanks' loss. Bless you. But it does take you a week or two to get dialed in, doesn't it? It takes a week or two to get dialed in, and then they start copying me. My missus, her granddad said when I started working out here, he said, "Oh, is everyone at work? Has Matt started talking like an American yet?" And she said, "No, but everyone at his work talks like him." It is weird. Like the first 2 weeks, they have to dial their ear in, and then after that, they all politely start using the same slang terminology as me, which is, again, Americans are so much nicer than British people are. They're like very, very polite people, the Americans. It's why you like it over here. They're super nice people, and they always try the best to make you fit in. Well, again, when you're British, I'm not labouring under the delusion that they'd be the same with Somalians. I made this point a few times to my missus. I said, I do have a soft spot for the Americans. They've been so nice to me since I got here. Don't you think it's weird how much nicer Americans are to foreigners? And she was like, whoa. They're nicer to people from the mother country. They're not nicer to people from Rwanda. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? So I'm not blowing too much smoke up their ass. It's because we're related, isn't it? Anyway, back to Trumpy Bear. He's killing it. And all they're doing is complaining about him. I can't show the footage on YouTube because it's just a wet lefty platform. But he's been blowing the drug smugglers out the water. I'm sure you've seen him if you pay attention. They're just blowing them up. They send these drug mules on speedboats, and the US give them 2 warnings and then just drop a bomb on them, just blow them to bits. He's just been scattering them across the ocean willy-nilly. And it's even doing that is good because it forces them to defend people that every right-thinking person despises. This is why I was whinging about Boris Johnson. It's obvious, isn't it? Like, Boris Johnson, I was personally attacking about him on this just after I'd voted for him. So, like, 3 months after I voted for him is when the penny starts to drop. I'm getting annoyed. Because I noticed, and I'm sure long-term viewers of the channel know this now, I noticed that he was pandering to the woke all the time. And I think I made this point 5 or 6, however long ago it was when I very first started my channel whinging about him. I think I made this point 4 or 5 years ago, saying, like, why is he pandering to people that will never vote for him? And this is the crucial difference between the fat albino jellyfish porridge-faced shitbag that is Boris Johnson and the glorious orange oracle, Trumpy Bear. Because the orange oracle doesn't care what the people outside of his base think about him. He just ignores them. He just ignores them and he plays to his base, which everyone who's got 2 brain cells to rub together knows. That's what you do. Whereas Trump is, when they complain, he goes, don't care. Don't care. Defend the scum. And then that fat, oh my God, he's a howling bit of kid. That Pritzker. Have you ever seen him? Shall I put him up just for Americans, just for the Brits who don't know what he looks like? Look at this big, fat, horrible bastard. He's a proper... Look at the clip of him. Yeah, more chins than the Chinese phone book. When you see his picture as well, look at him. Just a big, fat, horrible bastard. He's lost about £100 as well, so he's obviously on the old taxpayer-funded Ozempic like Robert Jenrick is. But, yeah, he's horrible. Just a horrible, fat waste of space. Big, saggy, baggy. Got a body like a sleeping bag full of jelly. And he's just dripping all the time. The angry Botox. Told you it's the camera. It does it itself, apparently. I think you can turn it off, but that involves effort on my part. So, yeah, I haven't got a rubber face in person. Trust me. Netty Spaghetti, I hope you take extra care if you come back to the UK. Have a beer on us. We love listening to your videos from Staffordshire, UK. All right, so that has reminded me. Right, so what I've got to do is, I'm still at work, and that's annoying because I'm doing 10, 12-hour shifts. I need to, in the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, no, that takes me to the end of November. I've booked flights for first week of December, and I'm intending to be in York on, like, the 12th. I've already booked an Airbnb because I want to hang out with my mates. So I'm going to try and see if I can sort it and I can actually have a live event. But the problem is, well, there's multiple factors, isn't it? First of all, I don't live over there. So I don't know how I'm going to set it up. I need to try and find like a company or a boozer or an event space where they'll actually just sort the whole thing out for me. And I can get like, what would I need? I can take my laptop, but I'd need like a screen, a camera, a microphone, and an internet connection. So I don't know if it's going to happen. Again, I've floated the idea a few times. I'll try and we'll see. And then the last thing I've got to worry about is whether or not the Rozzers pulled me out the line and bummed me at the airport. Did you look at the Galactic post I dedicated to you? It's almost as funny as you are. Thanks very much. A bit more polite, though. It is more polite. Yeah, I read it. It wasn't just dedicated to me. There was all kinds of shit in there. Interesting. But, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so there's tons of concerns that I've got about trying to make it happen. Because the worst thing it'd be me dropping $1,000 on an event space, and then worse than the coppers getting me is spending $1,000 on an event space and nobody turning up for it. So I don't know. I'll think about it. And again, I don't want to charge anyone for it. Maybe an idea is, just to get an idea of numbers, I'll put a post in the members section or something. If I can actually book somewhere and get a price, then I'll say like, pay a tenner for a ticket, just to make sure it's going to happen and motivate people to actually turn up. And then when you turn up, I'll stick $1,000 behind the bar, and then everyone gets the money back, basically. But, I've never done this for the money, and I don't want to charge people for it. But I'm learning that you do need to have some sort of process to make this shit happen. I'd also have to release the name late, wouldn't I? I might be overblowing my internet infamy at this point, but maybe I'm now on enough people's radar that if I actually told them where it's going to be, I might get a bunch of communists turn up at the place, which I would absolutely love, but probably wouldn't keep me out of prison. You know, that's something. I'll say this about those of you that watched me go on UNN's channel the other day. I'm going to tell him this next weekend. I said I'd go on his show again next weekend. The one thing that does piss me off about the right is they're even more overtly hostile and gobby. Like, maybe not more overtly hostile because the woke are super hostile, but they're definitely more like keyboard warrior than the left. Like, when I went on his show, the amount of right-wingers, they're just outright... In fact, I'm right-wing at this point, but I'm not extreme, far-right, kill them all, right? The amount of them that go on and just instantly start having a go proper annoys me. Because, like I said, I'm not some shrinking wallflower. Like, I'm the type, like, Sargon, when he was, like, shocked when all the commies ran into his thing. I'd have a fatty on. As soon as the first masked face came through the door, I'd have a fatty on. I'm a veteran of about 60 bouts, right, in the borough growing up. And in my adulthood, because I go out drinking a lot, I'd absolutely love it. I'd tent peg my shorts and then start windmilling on them. I'd be doing my Jackie Chan, Ahmad, Bruce Lee bollocks on them as soon as they came in the door. And I fancy doing it to some of the righties there, because they set the lip up so quickly, it proper does my head in. Like, worse than any of the lefties that come in my chat. The second I was on there, blokes were like, oh, look at this soy boy. Oh, he's a pussy. Look at him. He's even wetter than Paz and all this shit. And I was like, say that to my face, knobhead. I'd love it. I would love to get to grips with some of these wankers who instantly go, hey, he looks like a soy boy. What, because I'm not extreme far right? I still train 6 days a week. I guarantee I'd roundhouse your lips off, fatty. Like, that proper annoys me. So they piss me off more than the lefties. The lefties like attack you and lie about you. But the far right threaten you. They just go, oh, this guy's a fucking weakling. Look at this puny loser. I'd be like, oh, mate, I'd love to jab a thumb in your eyeball and then rip your nutsack off. I'd take great pleasure in it. So, anyway, rant over. I found myself not disagreeing with that fella too much. If any of you's watched it. I honestly don't. It's been a strange 6 years. Sadwing still calls me a lefty tosser. It's been a strange 6 years, hasn't it? Because it has. As you all know, when I first moved in over here, I like Bernie Sanders. And it's been an evolution for like 11 years, or however long it's been. It's mad, isn't it? How much things have changed. And now I'm on board with him on 80% of it. And I'll spell it out for you, and you can tell me, what you guys think. Fence sitter. Surely I'm not sitting on the fence, the shit I've made for the last 2 years. I think I'll explain to him my point, right? My point is, here's all the stuff that I agree with the hardcore nationalists on, right? White nationalists, or whatever, ethno-nationalists, right? Because it's logic. And again, I think I was trying to be logical 10 years ago when I was shilling for Bernie Sanders. I remember having an argument when I very first moved out here. So it must have been pre-2015. It must have been, I don't even know, I think it was 2024 or 2023. Sorry, 2013 or 2020 or 2014. Because it was just before the primaries and Clinton was arguing with Sanders. And I was playing 40k with a load of blokes in a big mint game store in Pasadena called Game Empire. It's mint. I was playing 40k with loads of blokes. There's like 5 of us around the table. And they were talking about Hillary Clinton. And I said, Bernie Sanders is way better than Hillary Clinton. Like, Hillary Clinton's just a liar. Like, all she does is lie, which I was right about. Because again, with Clinton, what turned me off is she's just an obvious liar. She'd go to one audience and say one thing. If it's a load of bankers, she just goes to them and says, oh, yeah. Definitely not going to tax the bankers. And then the next day she goes to a load of lefties and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tax the shit out the bankers. So she was more dishonest than him. So in my eyes, I was like, that guy is too left-wing for me because I'm a sort of English conservative at this point. Like, I voted for Cameron. Again, God, look at him. But at the time, I liked Cameron. And I thought, an English conservative who likes David Cameron politics is not too far away from an American Democrat because the Americans are a lot more right-wing. So I was like, no, actually, I think I prefer Bernie Sanders. And over the course of 11 years, I've just gone right. And this is where I am now. And Stephanie is probably someone who watched me on UNN and is what I'm talking about, giving it Billy Big Bollocks in the chat, right? That makes you sound like a mong, doesn't it? Because you're only listening to a retarded Bernie bro if you genuinely think a human can't change his mind over an 11-year period. And if you think that, you're a bit of a mong, aren't you? Bit of a mong. What do you think? Do you think 11 years ago I was like, oh no, I think I'm more aligned with Bernie Sanders. And now I still love Bernie Sanders and I've spent the last 6 years making videos that I disagree with. If you think that, I'm sorry to inform you, you shouldn't throw the word retarded around because you are Hmong child, Lord of the Hmong children. Okay? And what I'm getting at is, I now think I align with someone like Dave over at UNN on about 80, 90% of his politics. And the stuff I agree with is, first of all, it's blatantly obvious that every other group collectivizes. That's an undeniable truth, right? Definitely the 4B2s and the regulars at the snack bar genuinely do not like us very much because they don't see people who don't share their religious ideology as being worthwhile or equal. And the point I've always said is this is what hamstrings us, because when you're born and raised in a country as civilized and warm and wonderful as England, you'd never think of collectivizing. And again, it's not your fault, is it? If you're born and raised with that, and every day you get trained. That's what I told David. From the age of 0 to 20, you get told that the best and most important thing about our country is us standing up against the one bollocked Austrian, and your grandparents are heroes. It takes a lot of work and a lot of thought to evolve from that position. But at this point, what's obvious to me, and this is why I agree with them, is that if everybody else is collectivising, you have to collectivise. This idea that you can always be the bigger man is ludicrous and based on a false premise. You know, you have to... Anthony Joshua went on TV proudly after a random American career criminal accidentally died because he took too many drugs. And Anthony Joshua proudly went on TV and said, do not buy off white people. Don't use their shops. Don't use their businesses. He spat hatred towards the native inhabitants of the United Kingdom that have given him everything, cheered him to the rafters and turned him into a millionaire. And he still, because of the tribal nature of the human, which again, I'm not a religious man still, so I'm still coming at this from a sort of secular agnostic point of view. Our long evolution has turned us into a tribal animal, and you deny that at your own peril. Dare I say, the left love criticising the religious, saying they deny science. You're denying science. If you think that a human isn't inherently tribal due to our long evolution, you're not paying attention to the world. So what I'm getting at is, I still agree 10% with the left in that I'm not a theist and I still think I work off science and reason and rationale. But the rest of it, I'm with the Fs and the Nats and whoever else groups you can think of, because at the end of the day, the Muzzies and the 4B2s and the Hindus and the Sikhs and definitely people of colour. I'm not going to use that term. I really like the group over here that get termed as people of colour, and they aren't. They're just mixed with Europeans, like Mexicans. Like, at the end of the day, they're Caucasian. I don't feel like they collectivise very much. They collectivise about as much as the Anglos do. They don't do it. They're super sound people. But black and brown, like Indian, Asian, Pakistani, religious, every other ethnic group collectivises. So at the end of the day, I'm definitely going to stop using that term. I hate the term people, because it's so dumb, isn't it? As well, you can't say coloured, but you have to say people of colour. It's ludicrous commie gibberish when they started saying that thing about how black people can't be racist even though they're openly being racist. No. Technically they can be colourist. What are you talking about? You're making words up and then you have to keep inventing more and more words because it's gibberish. The issue with that, Sadwings, right, is the very left wing deny science. Obviously that's all woke shit. But the very right deny science, don't they? Because if you're a devout Christian, you will say, if it ain't in this book, it's bollocks. Again, in this day and age, which is why I'm sort of agnostic with a deep sense of Anglican Christian sort of background, and certainly a soft spot for my Church of England Christmas and carol singing upbringing. But the really devout ones don't they? Go, if it ain't in this book, I ain't doing it. The world's 6,000 years old, shit like that. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying science. Yeah, that's horseshoe theory, innit? It's like the far left and the far right are basically similar. But that's what I'm getting at there. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is, I think it's rational and logical to be a nationalist and to look after your own group, your own tribe, because everybody else is doing it. The global population is black and white. People who look like me are at about, 10% of the planet. If we don't collectivise as well, then we're going extinct, because I don't think they'll be as gentle. As I've said many times, everyone slags the Americans off. If there was another country, if Turkey was as powerful as the United States of America, this is why I get pissed when people slag off the Americans. If the Turks were as powerful as the Americans, do you think there'd be even a tenth as restrained with the wielding of that power as the Americans are? They'd be barnstorming across Europe. They'd all have a harem. They'd be surprise sexing all the white girls and eradicating people willy-nilly. That's what they're like. Don't forget about the gates of Vienna. As I keep saying, the Hagia Sophia is not theirs. Obviously, they couldn't build something like that. They stole it and redecorated, right? They collectivise. They see people like us as trash, and that's just the way of it. So, apart from the very devout religious elements and the individual prejudices, I'm with the hardcore nationalist types on 90% of what the platform is now. The only other thing I disagree is, and I find it unpalatable, is the genuine, full-blown individual racism. Like, as I keep saying, I don't think I'm racist, and I think I'm prejudiced, like everybody is. But when I get on a bus or a train, I'll try and befriend people. I'm a talker. I've always been a gregarious, sort of open person. If I get on a bus or a train and I sit next to a bloke who is a little bit brown and has a bit of a beard going on, the prejudice says he's probably not going to want to talk to me. If he's a very devout regular at the snack bar, we have nothing in common and he thinks I'm trash. But I also think he might not be. As I said, I have a what would you call it? A leaning into my upbringing. And I do have a soft spot for some of the people from my youth who weren't English, because my mum befriended that middle-class Indian doctor, and me and her son Neil used to play for 4 or 5 years. He was like my best pal in primary school. I don't have any time for the outright hatred for them as individuals. So maybe that might annoy them, but I'm definitely up for, at this point, going for deporting, I don't know, anyone who moved in after about 2015. Yeah, so that might annoy the full-blown ethno-nationalist types, because they probably want to go back to 1979. But I just think if we go back to 2015, we can fix all these problems, and I think we can deal with whoever's left. And anyone who hasn't paid taxes, and anyone who hasn't got a job, and anyone who's got a criminal record. So we can deport them back to day dot. But that's what I think. I think I have picked a side. That was quite a long rant explaining my political opinions at great length. I think agreeing with 85% of a bloke's platform is picking a side, no? I don't think I ever agreed with Boris Johnson's platform 85%, but I still voted for him. Is that not picking a side, you don't think? Well, we'll have it out next time I talk to him, and we'll see what David thinks. I don't understand people of colour because I'm not a painter. Yeah, well, I just hate the term. It's stupid. So I'm not using it. It's perfectly moral to want to preserve. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. So like I said, I'm 85% on board. I'm not religious, and I'm not gonna advocate deporting a bloke who was born and raised in England in the 70s. I think that's going a little bit too far. So yeah, pretty much. I've only got 2 letters to go there. Fair enough. That'll do. So yeah, we need to follow Trumpy's lead. And that was what I started rambling about in the first place. Get rid of this fat tub of sack of rats. Look at him. Oh, he's horrible. And he's on with Kimmel. Look at the fat, horrible dirtbag that he is. It turns my stomach looking at him. Just a creature. And again, I hate people like that more than I hate ethno-nationalists from the black community. I hate him more than Anthony Joshua or Lewis Hamilton, because they don't shag their own, do they? But people like this do. They'll smash their own people. So, in fact, let's look up Pritzker. Surely, this would make David happy because I want to know if he's the obvious. Let's have a look. Oh, there you go. There you go. Proved him right. It is funny, isn't it? It is funny. It is funny. Super rich, wealthy family. And if you look at his early life, named after his paternal uncles, he's of one of those families of Ukrainian descent. Weird, that, isn't it? David would love that. He'd love that. It's mad. So these people just screw their own. Like Ripley said on Aliens, at least the aliens don't do over their own species. These people are creatures. So to me, it's like Lewis Hamilton, Anthony Joshua, Pritzker, and, insects, ticks, mosquitoes, leeches, various other parasites. Just the worst of the worst. And it's time for the British to get on board with voting someone in who will actually try to make a difference. And when I say make a difference, it's stop the endless butchery of little English women and children because of stuff like this. David's put this, look. The Southport Inquiry heard that Axel Rudu Kanubu had brought a knife to school 10 times, searched for school shootings in America and on Google, searched for images of a picture of a severed head. Police sergeant said he did not meet the threshold for a channel referral. As soon as they found that he'd been taking a knife to school 10 times, looked for school shootings, and had a picture of a severed head on his computer, he should have been in a can for the rest of his life. What else have I got here? Sadwings. Angry Bootneck spiritual revival at Flamingo Land. Trust me, you are from America where they have actual theme parks. You definitely don't want to go to Flamingo Land. Spray painted ducks is all you'll see at Flamingo Land. Christopher Lucas has joined the channel as well. Nice one, Christopher. Help keep Neil off my balls. I've only grown since that started happening, as you know. Joe gifted a membership, so well done, Joe. Thanks for that. Ionic Plasmoid. Lads are out right now on Ormsby Bank putting the flags up. Love that. Love that. All the way down Cargo Fleet and Martin Road. Brilliant. Keep on that. That's fantastic. Sadwings chipped in 5. Crikey. You know what else he is? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Again, doesn't surprise me these days. Doesn't surprise me these days. So anyway, Rudu Kanubu killed those little girls because our government, the Home Office, the Civil Service, Philip Rutnam, Keir Starmer, David Cameron, Boris Johnson, all the House of Lords, all the House of Commons, they are treacherous dogs who sacrifice your children and your wives and occasionally you. They take out blokes as well with bombs and firearms. They sacrifice you on the altar of the globalist worldview, and they hate you, and they do want to kill you. They do want to kill you. There's no other excuse for it. You can't tell me it's not even a conspiracy theory at this point. Have you seen some of the stuff that Elon's been sharing? Look at this one. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And as I said, the Americans are in a less negative place than the United Kingdom is, because at least in the US, it's by state. Some of them states in the US proper don't piss about. Texas, the coppers are still scary. British coppers are a joke. They've still got Old Sparky. God bless Old Sparky. He's the only civil servant doing the Lord's work. And they've still got law and order. People are still a little bit scared of the coppers in America, and they should be. Look at this guy, though. 33 prior arrests and multiple attempted murders. Look at his rap sheet. From when he was a kid all the way up to now. It's unbelievable. 33 arrests. It should be Get that 3-strike rule back out. If you get arrested, if you get convicted 3 times, you ain't getting out. I don't care what you've done, because criminals always, repeat offenders will just never stop. So why don't you just do the public a favour and lock them up for good before they victimise the little girls, fiddle the kids, kill the women, shoot them in the head in San Francisco like that piece of shit did to Kate Steinle. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It was him. It was Amazon. Don't fully understand that comment. You're not on about Bezos, are you? We can't pin everything on Bezos. When a 33-time arrested felon, African fella, stabs someone, surely we can't blame the old baldy Armenian, can we? James Dreyfus, he's there's a based gay. But again, something that I have, and this is what I'm saying about learning to rub along with the eternally cancelled guys like David and who's the other big ethno-nationalist guy from the UK? No Chance messaged me about him, actually. I'll have to get back to him. I think it's Mark. But those blokes, I get where they're coming from, but that's where I have slight disagreements. Like, to me, obviously you shouldn't be promoting daisy chaining around the gay disco while ripped to the tits on poppers and wobbly eggs. But I don't think they do. I don't. This is, again, you have to have an open mind. Like I've always told you lot. Yeah, Mark Collett, that's him. Yeah. Like I've always told you lot. I never do that thing because it offends my logic gland where you go, obviously not all of them. I never do that because it's self-evident. I hate that people do it all the time. They'll be like, oh, black people collectivise. They stick on TV and say we've all got to stick together. Obviously not all of them. Well, you don't have to put that in there, do you? And this is where I'm thinking you've been misled. I've been misled. We were all misled when we were younger. Because I don't think they do. I've heard Mark talking about it. And he's like, yeah, we don't promote this type of stuff. But basically, they're on the same page as Charlie Kirk, aren't they? Because that's, again, the sort of 10, 15% I've got to go is, I don't like the rampant homophobia because I've, wargamed with guys who happen to be gay, who are Republicans, and I don't like the sort of rampant in-your-face homophobia. But I don't think they're like that. I think they're, again, more like us, but they get pushed as being a different way by the media. I don't think Charlie Kirk, especially, wasn't homophobic. Charlie Kirk was like, I don't agree with the lifestyle. I don't agree with gay marriage. But I encourage them to join the Republican Party and vote for Trump because I think you get more freedom under a man like that. And that's my position. I do think that they've over-egged the pudding there, and they probably aren't anywhere near as hateful as people make out. So again, I've got an open mind. A lot of YouTubers are self-interested and they're motivated by money and growing the channel. I never have been. I do podcasts and go on with people who've got 50 followers. I think I was the first one to get back to Dean O'Bain when he was at 12k or whatever. If anyone talks to me, I'll talk to them. I'll always have an open mind. And what I learned from talking to David and I talk to Mark or anybody else is that you have to have an open mind. The media lies, the government lies, and they spread malicious rumours about you and they make shit up. So I don't think any of them are the boogeymen that they've been created to be. Dawn Browning, are you a dual citizen? Yes, I am. I'm very, very fortunate to be a dual citizen. And I mean this with every fibre of my being. I love America. But, and it's a caveat, and this is why I guess you think I'm such an obvious ethno guy at this point. This is why it stuns me that the left try and claim that people like Rishi Sunak or any of the other religious or ethnic groups in Europe won't have a dual, won't have a secret loyalty to somewhere else. When Rishi Sunak won the premiership, they were partying in India. Yeah, an Indian, so he's going to do this for India. All the British MPs, Hamza Yusuf, all the Pakistani ones, their quotes tell you the story. They're obsessed with helping Pakistan. Ilhan Omar in the United States, we have to get Somalia sorted. Their loyalty is to the homeland, right? And it's so obvious, and this is a point that I've made, and back to Dawn, sorry, I popped off there. This is the point I make to everyone. The English and the Americans are inexorably linked in a way that almost no other countries share. Like the Anglosphere is a special case because we share a language, a culture, a history. Up until 1776, the Americans were English, and even the early Americans were English because in 1777, it was a new thing. It was like the kids moving out of the house and setting up on their own. So even though we share all this, we have the same colours on the flag, the same history, the same ancestry, the same blood coursing through our veins, the same language. All my family's American. I do Thanksgiving, Christmas. I love America. All the Americans are super decent people to me and have won me over with the crazy ways. I love America and I'd fight for this country, but I'm still not really as American as someone like Dawn Browning or Sadwings. I'm not, am I? Because I came here when I was 30 odd. So the idea that some Indian bloke is going to be more loyal to the United Kingdom than he is to India is preposterous. And I would hold myself up as a good argument for anyone making that case. Because I've embraced American culture and have the historical and geographic and ancestral ability to embrace American culture far more thoroughly than a Pakistani can embrace British or French or Italian or German culture. And even I'm nowhere near as American as Sadwings or some hillbilly who's been living in the Appalachians for 20 generations. Do you know what I mean? It's self-evidently preposterous, but that's what they say. It doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, yeah, I am a dual citizen, and I consider myself to be extremely lucky. And you'd be amused, all the Americans in the chat, to know how many and how often British people message me and say, I really, really want to move to the United States. England's ruined. Can I do it? And I'm like, no. No, because all the globalist sociopaths are on this weird thing where they make it super, super, super hard to move to a fellow Anglosphere country, but super easy if you're a Somalian pirate. Like, it's mental. If you're an American bloke, a white American bloke, and you want to move to England, almost impossible. You have to get sponsored for a job. There has to be no jobs available for any other British people. There's about 200 hoops to jump through. You have to have criminal record, background check, medical check. Even me, who lived with an American for years in York when she was at college there, I had to do loads of stuff to get into the United States. I had to have a thorough background check, 2 interviews, pass a test, 2 medicals, the works. It's hard. Going from nice civilized Anglosphere countries is well hard. But if you're an Iraqi, if you're a lying, stabby Afghan who murders a young man on the streets of England, easy. Easy. So what's that if not criminality? What's that if not complicity? I've just been telling you that they're doing it on purpose. There's some more evidence that they're doing it on purpose. If a 19-year-old blonde Canadian backpacker wants to move to England, almost impossible. If an Aussie or an American wants to move to Scotland, almost impossible. But if a big, violent, hairy-arsed career criminal from Rwanda or Somalia or Pakistan or Morocco or Algeria wants to move to Scotland, they'll get him a council house in a fortnight. And he'll be a bona fide Scotsman with his bona fide Scottish passport in about 2 years. So you tell me it's not on purpose. It's shocking. Adrift again, Royal. Have a can of Tramp's piss on me. Tramp's piss. That's considered a delicacy on the streets of Middlesbrough. Thank you. Susan is coming from beyond the grave. Tommy Robertson, Guy Slop. Don't know if he's talking about me there or not. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The purity spiral is gonna hamstring any right-wing movements in the UK, because if you only agree with them on 85% of the platform, which is a damn sight more than I've ever agreed with any British politician in history or have ever voted for. Voted for Cameron and Johnson. I probably agree with them on about 60% of what their platform was. But it'll kill you. So just keep doing it. Just be a wanker and have your own little shitty group where you wank each other off. But just know that you're actively helping to kill your country, because that's what you're doing. If you make some ridiculous right-wing circle jerk where you're proper rude and also you're a gobshite and you give it Billy Big Balls behind the camera, because you know for a fact that Roundhouse keep your lips off outside Wetherspoons in the borough, you're actively hamstringing your efforts to save your country, aren't you? Because when people start leaning your way, you take the piss out of them and they go, okay, fuck these guys then. So yeah, give it Charlie Big Spuds all you like, son. Doesn't bother me a lick. But if you're not much of a patriot if you're helping to wreck your own country. And that's what you do if you build a tiny little movement with 4,000 people in it and you piss in the face of anyone who even considers voting the way you tell them. So just be aware of that. If you weren't having a go, apologise for the minor rant. Daft as a Brush is important to me now. Welcome. And Dawn Browning, check out Old Glory's Club series, American Spirits. They go into their Anglo origins in detail. It's really interesting. It is, and I know a lot about this because, like I said, I'm a history buff. Military history specifically, but you learn a shitload of good stuff when you get mega into military history. It's really good stuff. I've been talking about it with lads at work, actually telling them all to get into the Napoleonic War. Because the Americans, the genesis of their country was going on when the Napoleonic War was kicking off. Americans are woefully uneducated about the Napoleonic Wars. And I keep telling them, I was like, go on YouTube and just watch some historical history videos about the Napoleonic Wars. Like, I've watched about 20. They're amazing. Like, that was the first proper, like, world war, basically. Almost a world war. I guess we didn't have the technology for it to be totally global. But basically, it was mint. It was like little French twat invading Spain and Portugal, and then the British couldn't beat him on the land, so we had a big navy, and it was this cat and mouse game, and then we finally get a coalition together, and we twat him, and then he comes back, and he walks up to all these French soldiers who've been sent to capture him, and he's like, strike me down, shoot me if you want to, and every time they send an army to him, they join him, because they're in love with the little bastard, and it's because he made them great. And then Duke of Boots rocks up with his allies, Blucher and the lot, and then we twat him in the end. It's amazing. It's as good as any fiction novel. So you should get into that stuff. Yeah, he was a little shit, wasn't he? But again, boring to point out that apparently he wasn't a short ass, which is what I've heard. I'm currently working my way through a book that I heard Michael Malice talking about by Paul Johnson. It's just called A History of the American People. Great book. Because, you want to learn about your adopted homeland. But I do miss home every day. And it does upset me what they're doing to the UK. I still would like to maybe not go back full time because the weather's too good in California, but at least buy a little flat in York and divide my time between these two places that I love. And I can't, because despite the fact I'm from 25 generations of Englishmen, Irishmen, Scotsmen and Welsh, and I've served my country, I genuinely don't feel safe in the United Kingdom. Like, they would come for me, wouldn't they? It's an authoritarian shithole. For a man like me to have to fly back on a US passport, which is what I do now, I don't even get my British passport out the drawer. That stays here. Because I think if you're at least flying as an American, maybe they'll have an extra bit of concern about arresting you for thought crimes. Because in this country, it's not illegal to call the Prime Minister a filthy, lying, degenerate poker of Ukrainian rent boys. It's not illegal to say that I would dance an Irish jig with a pleasurable erection if he got the good news off one of the people that he's always sucking off on television. I'm allowed to say that. You're not allowed to promote violence, but you're allowed to say, yeah, if they're allowed to laugh, crow about poor old Charlie Kirk getting it in front of his wife and kids, I'm allowed to say I will be pleased if the scum that lord it over the United Kingdom get a David Amos one of these days. It would please me. I'm happy to concede it. I'm not going to do this fake virtue signalling. Oh, nobody should be. Yeah, you shouldn't promote it, but don't tell me I have to feel bad about it. What do you do? Send his wife a card? I hate the man. You know what I mean? They crowed over Charlie Kirk when he got executed. So don't tell me I have to pretend I'm unhappy if something happens to someone like that maggot that runs the United Kingdom, and I've managed to not say his name. So I'll treat yous to it. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Ha! Gay! Yeah, he's a human toilet. It's a human toilet, and I'll say that proudly in it. And if that apparently gets me nicked, well, it'll just prove my point. I'll fly as an American citizen. They can arrest me as an American citizen for having an opinion they don't like, even though they're allowed to celebrate and party in the streets when poor old Charlie Kirk gets murdered in front of his wife and children. And then they can just show themselves up again. I mean, they've already given us 7,000 different examples of blatant, brazen two-tier justice, whereby blokes like me get 3 years in jail for expressing an opinion, but the kiddie fiddlers like Mr. Kababu in Epping gets a 4-month sentence is he going to end up with? Something like that. We've already got the evidence, but I'll just be the cherry on top. If you want to make a total bell end of yourself, dirtbag, slime ball, sack of rats, walking toilet, oxygen thief Prime Minister, and arrest me for saying that I'd get a little bit of blood in it if someone gave you both barrels, you do it. And I'll just laugh as people put Charlie Kirk celebration videos on loop of all these people partying in the streets when the verminous, degenerate, self-loathing scum on the opposite side of the political spectrum party in the streets when an innocent man gets butchered like an animal. So, so suck on that. Oh no, the Chancellor's been mentioned. I feel like I have to do it if the Chancellor's been mentioned in the chat. Rachel Reeves.
She's a spastic.
She definitely is, Mr. Skinhead. Thanks for your astute observations there. Right, anyway, you've had an hour and 2 minutes there. You can have that for now, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't missed anyone out, have I? Of course I haven't. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for the likes and shares, as always. Thanks for the recommendation, Dawn Browning. I'll be reading that. I'll add it on my lengthy to-do list. And as usual, keep smiling, because it's all you've got. They can't take that off you. They can take your rights, your freedoms, and your ability to speak from you, but they can't stop you laughing, as Bernard Manning used to say. So cheers to that. They can't stop us laughing, and I'll keep on doing it. And I'll keep ripping the piss out of the collection of degenerates, perverts and imbeciles that are lording it over the United Kingdom and stomping on your windpipe with their iron-shod boots. And I'll keep laughing about it until they drag me off to the salt mines. All right? So, F 'em. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. I won't be back until Sunday night. So, probably won't be doing any content till Monday, maybe. All right? Have a fantastic weekend. Stay free, stay pissed, and stay good-humoured. All right? See you later. Toodle pip.